start with this particular chart. It's a lot of data, but all of this is very richly covered in all standard economic textbooks. But I just wanted to shine the torch on the size of this universe. Depending on which way you cut it, it's between the lowest number that you get is about 500 million people, and the highest that you get is somewhere close to about a billion. So if you look for a tapestry on which to deliver impact, there's no richer ground anywhere in the world compared to people who are agri-dependent in India. And they are going through different phases. There's the political and the regulatory part of it, which started post-independence around food security, famines, shortages, all of that. We overcame that very successfully. And now we've sort of moved forward from this entire business of food security to dealing with the vagaries of climate change. But there's a large number of people who are getting impacted in a very, very severe way. And climate change is here and now, and I come from Bangalore. It was known as the land of the lakes, but it's now competing with Rajasthan, which is famous for its desert, to become one of the most arid states in the country. And so this is perhaps the most stark reminder of the fact that being very monsoon dependent, large parts of India and farmers engaged in agriculture are going to go through a tremendous amount of issues coming out of climate change. And so there's a lot to be done when it comes to agriculture. And, if you look at the landscape, anything that you can do in this particular sector provides an opportunity for resolving one or the other issues. And at Menterra, we decided to sort of focus on the fact that this is a very, very large area with many, many complex issues to resolve. How best to sort of narrow cast and do the little that you can do on a few things. And I'll share some examples of the kind of work that we're doing to give you our approach. And it's by no means the only way to resolve issues, because as Sugandhi was saying before, that there is so much to be done and there is so much of opportunity there, that it is far better to sort of narrow cast and do a few things and do them well. So you've got this fragmentation of land as a big issue. And it so presents itself as unviable farming. But actually the big issue underlying this is the fact that it's no longer possible for 16% of the GDP of the country to sustain 60% of the population. And so you're dealing with a classic case of underemployment. And so opportunities of commercial investments to create rural livelihoods is perhaps the single biggest opportunity that we have in decongesting agriculture and depopulating it and reducing the agri-dependency of this population. Water scarcity. If you saw my first chart, it was talking about the monsoon-dependent land, and it's still close to about a little over maybe a third of the total land. And unfortunately, most of that is in the hands of smallholder farmers. And so anything that can be done to mitigate this particular severe impact can be really, really beneficial. And people are willing to sort of, pay money to get these kind of products and services. And of course, we all know that given the level of very low processing in India, the ability to access export markets, the processed foods market has been very limited. The kind of infrastructure which is required to sort of process and near farm and on farm as much as possible is really a big opportunity for investment. And we are, of course, in infrastructure short. I always give the example of the potato industry, which I was very deeply involved with. We produce on average between 48 million tons to 54 million tons in any average year. And we have storage capacity adequate for about 50 million tons. The minute it goes above 50 million tons, prices of potato crash, right? And so this is perhaps the most well-developed storage system that you have for any agricultural commodity in India. And if that's the state for potato, you can well imagine how much of investment is required to create this capacity. I'm giving you three examples now. This is something which is particularly dear to me, which is about the tea industry. And you see when you're dealing with the tea industry, how inequitable an agri-value chain can become. 55% of the leaf that is produced by small farmers. And they make on average between 13 to 15 rupees per kg of green leaf. And so we aggregated some of them in an experiment with 35 farmers 3 years ago in Udalguri district, which is a less developed part of Assam. And we helped them to improve their agronomy standards to produce high quality green leaf. And those of who are from the tea industry know that the enzymatic value in green leaf is really the foundation stone for producing great tea. And that's what we did. Today, the tea that we produce from these small farmers commands a price as good as estate teas. They are safe and compliant. And this year, we will achieve the yardstick of milestone of becoming Euro compliant. And with that, we should be able to almost double the price realization that we're getting for these small farmers. Coincidentally, they used to get about 15 to 18 rupees per kg of green leaf. Today, they get 35 from Iron Kettle, which is a company that we've built. It's Rainforest Alliance certified as well. This is a transference of the same idea into mango. And the beauty of the Iron Kettle model is that you can take it across different agri-value chains and resolve pretty much the same issue. So here is an example of the same model being replicated with small orchards run with farmers who've got, say, maybe 100 to 200 plants. And this is an experiment which is starting in the south of Andhra Pradesh. And we hope to sort of have this in the market very soon. And we started to look at cotton as perhaps another value chain where a similar intervention could create good outcomes for small growers. This is the third one, which is very interesting. And it just shows the number of opportunities that emerge when you start to delve into agriculture. So we started by looking at the use of coal in tea manufacturing. And we found that, look, that's not a good idea. Is there an alternative to it? And we soon found wood gasifiers, which were much more efficient and renewable, right? And it also provided a social forestry angle for small farmers around the periphery of their lands, right? And with that, there's an outcome called biochar from wood gasification, which addresses one of the biggest unsaid problems in Indian agriculture, which is the very low levels of carbon in Indian soil. Our Indian soil, on average, has about 0.3% carbon, and the total requirement is about 4%. Right? And so biochar going back into the soil sort of provides one long-term solution, which leads to better water retention and reduced chemical usage. Finally, my summary, there are many things which are stated there and which only amplifies the point that there's a lot to be done. And when it comes to agriculture, at least at Menterra, we took the view that doing a few things which are really focused around this business of providing alternatives to people in agricultural areas while helping and alleviating their condition would perhaps be the focus of our attention for perhaps the next decade or so. And we firmly believe that, look, all investments into agriculture are not impact investments, and you have to really narrow cast. And that's where I would request IIC and Girish to actually continue the effort of sort of atomizing the need for capital in agriculture in India, and especially direct some part of that money towards genuine impact requirements in agriculture. Thank you very much.